SpaceX is taking the final steps before the highly anticipated sixth flight of the Starship rocket, and there are some exciting developments happening at the Starbase launch facility in Texas. We'll dive into all the details in today's video. But before we delve any deeper, please make sure to subscribe to our channel for future updates about Starship and SpaceX's other groundbreaking achievements. We are finally just hours away from the highly anticipated sixth flight of SpaceX's Starship. What stands out about this program is not just the technology, but how personally invested Musk is in its progress. Musk's excitement about Starship matches that of its fans, and he frequently shares updates and insights on Twitter. Recently, he posted a video comparing the early 2019 prototype, taking its first small hop to the significant moment in Flight 5, when the massive booster was caught by the Mechazilla tower. This serves as a clear response to those who doubted the project in its early stages. Back in 2019, when SpaceX first showcased the Starship prototype, critics and skeptics were quick to dismiss the idea. Many claimed it would never leave the ground. However, SpaceX proved them wrong in April 2023 with the first successful Starship test flight, showing that the concept of a fully reusable spacecraft could work. Since then, Starship has completed 5 test flights, each refining its design and functionality. The Mechazilla launch and catch tower has been one of the most debated and innovative aspects of the program. The idea of catching a descending booster with mechanical arms sounded impossible to many in the aerospace industry. It had never been done before. Despite the doubts, SpaceX accomplished this during Flight 5, successfully catching the Super Heavy booster. Now SpaceX is preparing for Flight 6, with the launch expected to take place today. This flight will build on the lessons learned from previous flights. According to Musk and updates from SpaceX, the Starship vehicle has undergone several upgrades. Musk also shared an update from SpaceX's official account, which stated, "Propellant load test and pre-flight checkouts complete ahead of Starship's 6th flight test." This means that SpaceX has successfully completed 2 critical steps before the launch. The propellant load test involves loading cryogenic methane and liquid oxygen, which are the rocket's fuel, into the Starship and Super Heavy booster. This step ensures that the fueling systems are working properly by simulating the fueling process that will occur during the actual launch. It checks for leaks, temperature inconsistencies, and flow issues. It also verifies that the fuel tanks, plumbing, and pressurization systems can handle the extreme conditions of cryogenic propellants. Pre-flight checkouts are detailed checks of all systems on the Starship and Super Heavy booster, including the avionics, communication systems, and structural integrity. These checks confirm that everything is ready for flight. Ground systems like the launch pad and Mechazilla arms are also inspected to ensure they are prepared for the demands of launch and booster recovery. By completing these steps, SpaceX has cleared significant technical hurdles, meaning the rocket and ground systems are ready for the next stages. Now the team may perform a static fire test, where all 33 Raptor engines on the booster are ignited while the rocket remains on the launch pad. This ensures that the engines are functioning correctly and can produce the necessary thrust for liftoff. Weather conditions will be closely monitored in the final hours to make sure there are no high winds, lightning, or other adverse conditions that could delay the launch. SpaceX will finalize the exact time of launch based on the readiness of the vehicle, ground systems, and weather. The team may also conduct a full simulation of the launch countdown, known as a wet dress rehearsal, where the rocket is fueled but the engines are not ignited. This ensures all systems are ready to proceed to launch. A final round of inspections will be carried out to check for any issues with the rocket, launch pad, or Mechazilla tower. Before initiating the final countdown, mission controllers will confirm from all departments, including propulsion, avionics, and ground systems, that they are ready for launch. A quick look at SpaceX's official website provides detailed information about the 6th Starship flight and its objectives. The test is scheduled for Tuesday, November 19th, with a 30-minute launch window opening at 4 p.m. This mission has several key goals, including the booster returning to the launch site for another catch attempt, reigniting one of Starship's Raptor engines in space, and testing various heat shield experiments and maneuvering adjustments during the ship's re-entry over the Indian Ocean. The first successful catch during Flight 5 proved that the concept works and provided critical data for improving hardware and software. For Flight 6, the booster will feature several upgrades, including additional redundancy in its propulsion systems, enhanced structural strength in critical areas, and a faster process for offloading propellants after a catch. Software controls and decision-making criteria for the booster's launch and recovery have also been refined to improve reliability. Similar to the fifth test, several conditions must be met for the booster to return and be caught by the Mechazilla tower. The systems on both the booster and the tower must be functioning correctly, and the mission's flight director will give a manual command to proceed with the catch. If this command isn't issued after the boost-back burn, or if any system checks indicate a problem, the booster will instead perform a controlled splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico. This contingency ensures the safety of the public, and SpaceX's team remains the top priority. As the booster returns, it will decelerate from supersonic speeds, producing sonic booms that may be heard in areas surrounding the landing site. The intensity of these booms will vary depending on weather conditions and how far observers are from the landing zone, but they will sound similar to a brief thunderclap. For the upper stage of Starship, it will follow a suborbital trajectory similar to the previous flight, with a planned splashdown in the Indian Ocean. A new objective for this flight is to ignite a single Raptor engine in space to demonstrate the ability to conduct a deorbit burn. This mission will also test new thermal protection systems and operational tweaks to push Starship's limits. The heat shield will feature experimental secondary materials, and entire sections of tiles have been removed to simulate hardware for future catch systems. Starship will also intentionally fly at a higher angle during descent to stress the limits of its flaps and collect valuable data for refining future landing techniques. The late afternoon launch timing was specifically chosen to allow the ship's re-entry over the Indian Ocean to occur in daylight, providing clearer visual observations. There were some rumors circulating that SpaceX might attempt to catch the upper stage during Flight 6, but that's not happening. Catching the upper stage is significantly more challenging than catching the booster due to its higher speeds, altitude, and complexity during re-entry. It's more likely that SpaceX will aim to test the upper stage catching mechanism during Flight 7 as they continue refining the system. Looking ahead, the seventh test flight is expected to introduce significant design changes, including larger propellant tanks, upgraded forward flaps, and the newest generation of thermal protection systems. Each of these tests builds on the data from previous flights to improve the overall reliability of the Starship system, bringing SpaceX closer to achieving the goal of a fully reusable spacecraft. That's all for today's video. Make sure to subscribe for more updates, and we hope to see you in the next one.